Hello and welcome to another showcase of a game I have made and a little run through which we're gonna do during this video. So I want to show you a game called Infernal Descent, which is made by only 9 cards and 18 components. It is a game for 1 to 4 players, although it is made only for, well, when I was making I was thinking to make just pure solo game, so it's better if you play solo with moving all the team members of this team. So what's going on here? Well, in the future people were trying to make a super weapon based on dark matter, and they made a bomb that they detonated uh, 6 kilometers under Earth, and when it detonated it opened actually rift to another dimension, and from it all kind of monsters start pouring into our world and destroying everything. So to close up the rift, humanity pick up the two teams, that one team and the other another support team, to move the bomb to the bottom of the rift and try to close it by detonating. So what are we going to do? We're gonna be members of that team. So let me just showcase all the cards we have, and then I'm gonna do a run through. So the main card we're gonna have to track some things is this one called Descent and Dread. So it represents these 6 kilometer deep that we need to pass into the center to the earth, and represents rooms. Now on the left side we have levels, and each level is consistent of 6 rooms. So as you descend, you also have to pass all the 6 rooms. Once you pass the 6th room, you can move down one level. So basically there's a lot of ground, or should I say underground, we need to pass with the team until getting to this last level with the plus spot where we have to actually deliver the bomb. Of course, on our track we're gonna meet all kind of monsters. Here's a monster card, and it is double-sided. We use this first side with the creeper, imp, skeleton and splinter first. We use that card until we are here on this gray out zone. Once we pass to the red zone, we flip the card and we have actually more advanced monster like a worm, beast, banshee and magician. I'm gonna explain that. Let's continue with showcasing the cards. Another cards we gonna have is room encounters. So whenever you enter the room, you're gonna roll 2 dice and see what kind of counter you're gonna have. You have these 2 dice you're gonna use during the game. Room encounters is also double-sided, so depending what you roll from 2 to 12, you will have either some encounter where you need to test some, or encounter where you have a battle. We're gonna come back to that. Then we have members of our team represented with these colorful dices. As you can see, our team, 8 team, is have a psycho, medic, ninja and robot. They all have a health. We use dice to track their health and to track their movement on through the underground. And they also have a combat value and special ability. So if you see, right now I have a setup for the A team where the psycho has a 5 health. He's up here. Medic has a 4 health in yellow die down there. I have a ninja with the blue 4 health, and I have a robot which has a 6 health and he's a green. Now this setup you can change. For instance, I can maybe place psycho down here and medic here. Doesn't really matter, but it's gonna change the moment you have a first battle. Another thing we have is this double-sided supply card. At the beginning of the game, you're gonna roll a supply dice and add 2 to it, and then you're gonna place it here and track your supplies. These are the things you can carry with you and use it. It's like some special, additional special abilities. So for instance, I can choose to carry mines, or maybe explosive bullets, or extra ammo, or grenades. Whatever it's on top, that's your current supply. Also, this card is double-sided, so instead of getting some offensive weapons, I can choose some defensive measures, so like Kevlar armor, amphetamines, medical supplies, or flares. Each have their pros and cons, but depending what kind of game you want to play. Now, this is a roguelike game, so whatever you pick up in the beginning of the game, it might turn out to be your like only supply, unless you have some luck to find some other supplies from the previous team that tried to deliver the bomb. There is actually one encounter that can help you with that. But this game is brutal hard, and it's gonna probably you're not going to win on your first try. Maybe not on even your fifth try, but you could, you know, hope to made it at least once. Alright, so what else we have here? We have these cars that I use as lanes, and they have zones. This is where the battle is gonna happen. So this is where you actually can move around. This is called a perimeter, and monsters gonna spawn into these lanes, and they're gonna move through these zones, and they're gonna have some special ability they can activate on their turn if when they start the turn and if you roll a dice. I'm gonna explain how that works also. But for now, you actually doesn't have dice like this. These cards are shuffled and draw from the bottom, and that's how you make these rooms every time you enter one. If you have a battle, of course. So these lanes configuration is going to change from battle to battle. Alright, so now that I explained the basic things, let's do a one run through. So game starts first with choosing your team. So I'm gonna choose team A. It's already set up on the table, so why not use it? And I'm gonna leave it like this. What's important about team A is their special abilities. Like if you check the cycle, it says once per battle kill all enemies in your zone. So he's good if you enter the zone where lots of enemies, you can use his ability and kill all of them. Medic, it says when in safe room you can heal one team member by +2. Some rooms will be safe depending on the encounters. Ninja can once per encounter can reroll a test result. Well, we're gonna have some tests. Now, how the tests work in this game is through this dread die. Now, the dread always starts on 3. So whenever you're testing something, if you roll 3 or equal to 3 or higher than 3, you're gonna pass the test. Everything lower is fail the test. That's how the test works. And this dread is gonna rise or get lower through the game. You'll see how that works. So this is my team, and let's see the robot. It said robot can't be healed, but I can kill the robot and all enemies during one battle. So he has like self-destructing mechanism, but you can't repair him. He's just gonna take damage and he dies. So this team is, well, it's special. But the second team also has some special abilities, but we're not gonna use it. How this game is work: when all the team members dies, you send the second team and continue from the spot. But well, let's say my first team died on the 36. Well, I gonna get another team and then gonna move one spot upwards. So I'm gonna start from 30, not from 36. So that's where your second team starts. So you have two chances, two teams to deliver the bomb to the bottom and destroy these evil and seal the dimension from hell dimension from the incoming. Alright, so the second thing I need to do during the setup is to roll my supply die, and first I need to choose my supply. So let's see what I want. I think I'm gonna stick with grenades. So I roll my supply die and add 2 to it. So 4 plus 2, that's 6. That's basically the maximum grenades I'm carrying. So from now on, I can, as a free action, destroy one monster in my lane. Another thing, during the combat, each of your team members have 2 actions to use. So those 2 actions they can move or they can shoot, or they can move twice or shoot twice. Now damage do accumulate, so even those this combat represents how many dice you roll and what you need to roll to hit monsters. So for instance, medic rolls only 1 dice but hits on 4 plus, while Psycho rolls 2 dice but hits only on 5 plus. So 5 or higher than 5 and he's gonna hit something. Now why is this important, the accumulation of damage? Well, if we check the monsters, some of them has hit point 1, so they're gonna just die from 1 hit. But like this Splinter on the bottom, he has 2 hit points, so you actually have to hit him twice. So if I want to kill Splinter with Medic, it only uses 1 dice, I actually have to use 2 actions and get hit on both of them. If I manage to do that, I'm gonna actually be able to kill Splinter, while someone like Robot can just roll 2 dice and kill him from first try. Alright. By the way, let's look at our monsters. So we have a Creeper. He has a hit point 1. He's gonna spawn on 1 or 2 dice. These are all the level 1 monsters, as you can see. Each monster have a little AI. So the Creeper will move and then will run. Now monsters usually move from zone to zone toward your team members. But this one is gonna move first and then he's gonna run, which means a player in the Creeper lane must test Dread. And if I fail, Creeper is gonna move again. So they are kind of a bit faster enemies. They can actually move twice. Some enemies have a range attack like an imp. He's gonna move and then he's gonna spit. Spit is range attack, so on 5 plus he's gonna hit everything that is in his lane. Now if we check that, so for instance we use these little cubes, we have 2 of them to track monster movement. So let's say I have a imp in my lane, and basically when he activates he's gonna move and then he's gonna spit onto whoever he is in his lane. So for instance he's gonna spit on Robot. Now these lanes also have some icons, but I'm gonna explain them when we actually have a battle. So let's do with that. So yeah, I'm ready to go. My Dread is on 3, I'm on level 6, I'm on room 1, and we're going downward and we're going through the rooms. So whenever I pass the 6th room, I can actually move this slider 1 space to lower to get the deeper underground. So what happens is whenever you are in the room number 1, you have a little chance to actually run through all the rooms, but only 1 chance. You gonna roll 1 dice, and if you get a 6, you immediately gonna pass all 6 rooms and go 1 level down. So that's like 1, 2, action is called actually breakthrough. So let's do that first. Oh, almost. So no, I actually have to go from all 6 rooms right now. So I didn't manage to break through. This thing you can only do when you are on the first level, on the first room. Alright, so the second thing, we're gonna have encounter. For encounters, in each room we have 1 encounter. We roll 2 dice. And I'm gonna have encounter number 10. So let's see what is the number 10. It says Abandoned Mine. 1 player may test Dread, pass, this room is safe, fail, resolve, skirmish. Alright, let's do that. Now I can choose which team member is gonna do that. And I'm gonna choose Ninja because she has ability once per encounter you can reroll a test result. So what I'm rolling right now is only 1 die, and I'm trying to roll equal or higher than the Dread value. So let's do that. So I got 3, so I passed the test. So this abandoned mine room is safe. Now, if anyone was hurt, well, except the robot, we can't fix him, the medic would be able to use a special ability and heal team member by +2. So if anyone was hurt, I could actually bring him back with his health a bit. But right now they are all healthy, so nothing happens. Still, better to be safe than skirmish. Once we do the encounter, we move the slider to the second room and we roll the encounters again. So let's see. Second encounter is number 9. It says Remnants of the Ancient Civilization. You may lower dread by 1. If you do, roll again on the room encounters chart. Well, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna lower the dread on 2. By the way, the minimum amount of dread is actually 2. The maximum amount is 6. Just so you know. That's very important. So now I'm on minimum of dread basically. And well, I did lower, so I have to roll again on the event chart. So let's do that. And it is 6. So finally I will show you how the battle works. Alright. So if you see these battle encounters, they are on the other side, and if you roll low, you're gonna probably have some of them. I actually got the probe, which is a spawn 1 monster in zone 3 of each lane. So we're gonna have our first battle. When I finish the battle, I'm gonna go to room 3 and then we're gonna continue rolling the encounters until I pass all the rooms. So as you can see, there will be lots of battle probably during your descent, and some of them will be really bad. So to set up the battle, you roll your lanes and then you draw from the bottom. Let's do it like this. We make a little, like a, this here, like a battle zone, like this. Zones going from 4 to 1, so always look that the zone 1 is in front of your character. We are all in the perimeter, but we can move through zone, and we will have to, and you will see why. Now let's look at these zones. Let's look at this, lanes. These are called lanes and these are called zones. First of all, each lane has a spawn point. Now, this is where you actually spawn the monster unless encounter says otherwise. So in my case it's a probe, so I need to spawn 1 monster in zone 3 of each lane. So they're going to spawn here. How this works, how the battle works, is once monster spawns, that's it. You can clear the lane of the monster, but you have to put your character, that actually costs an action, on the spawn zone to seal the spawn zone, because the moment the lane is clear, if the spawn zone is not sealed, you're gonna roll for another spawning, and you're gonna spawn you always spawn 1 monster in these spawn zones. So for instance, this spawn zone, actually we'll see, will I have this kind of spawn zone, will spawn enemy on 5 or more than 5. But first of all, after we place our rooms, we're gonna actually roll for each room to see what side will be used. So if you see these little numbers below, so I'm not gonna actually use the side with 4, 6. I'm gonna flip this, so this is my lane. It's gonna be used during this turn, and you do this clockwise for every other lane. So let's see. This side is gonna be used down here. This side is gonna be used, and up here this side is gonna be used. So these are my actual lanes right now. Now before I spawn the monster, let me explain each of these icons and how they work. So we have one icon that is called the holy symbol. If you flip this red card, on the other side we have an icon of hope. Now once you get to the zone 3, you can use an action to step on the, basically you place your little character or on the icon of hope to activate it. When you do this, you're gonna roll for it, and you're gonna have some really good like bonuses. So I can lower dread, I can heal wounds, destroy monster, and so on. So that's one thing I want to do on this lane. Here we have a little like a push that will push monster into this direction adjacent to another lane and another zone. So for instance, let's say I have a monster here at the beginning of the monster activation, and by the way, when we have a battle, players always activate first. Uh, they have something that's called advantage, but sometimes the monster is going to activate first. So basically how the battle goes, each of your team members is going to do 2 actions before the monsters, and then the monster is going to activate. When monster activate, if they are on the zone that has some icon that will affect them, these black ones, you're going to roll for that first. You're going to apply those effects, and then you're going to move monsters by their AI depending on the card. So in the zone 2, let's say I have a monster here. If I roll anything that is 4 or more, this monster is actually going to move from this lane and zone 2 to the second lane into zone 2. So that's how these push icons work. As you can see, there is a one that can push here. Now here's the deal. As the game progresses, some of your team members are going to die. When you have a dead team member, you don't draw a card from that side. So if I have a enemy in this zone and he has to be pushed, he's actually gonna step into perimeter. Now why is this important, this perimeter part? This is everything outside of the zone 1 and other zones if it's pushed. Whenever the monster moves into perimeter, each of your team members have to test dread. Each of them that doesn't pass the dread is gonna take 1 damage. So every team member is gonna get damaged with the monster that managed to enter the perimeter, basically leave the zone. So in this case, this will enter the perimeter and all will take the damage. So as your team members die, there is lots of chances that, yeah, you're gonna get attacked from the back and so on. Alright, so that's this icon here, push. This shield here, monsters have a shielding, so you actually have to attack him twice. It's like boost to their hit points. So if you have a monster with 2 hit points, you actually have to hit him 3 times, which you can't do. So the monster with 2 hit points actually in this zone are invulnerable. So they're gonna probably move down. So you have to kill them before they get to this zone, otherwise you'll have problems. So let's see what other icons we have. We have a push to this side. We have a rally. So if you have a monster here and you roll this, you're gonna immediately move any monster in this lane again. They're gonna all activate twice. So for instance, this monster is gonna activate twice, and if there is any other monster in this lane, it's gonna activate twice. So this is really bad. You can move monsters quite quickly to your perimeter. And we have a one push that's gonna just push you downward, and that's basically all the icons that is used during the game. Alright, now that we know, let's set up our little probe. So I need to spawn one monster in zone 3 of each lane. So how the spawning works, you go from top to bottom and you roll for each player, basically can roll for himself. You're gonna roll on the monster chart to see what kind of monster, and then gonna you place it in the zone. So let's see. Up here we have one creeper. Here we have one imp. In the bottom zone we have one splinter. And on this zone we have another creeper. Now, if you don't have enough components to spawn the monster, you just take the the one that is below. So for instance, if I would roll another imp, I would another creeper, I would actually have to spawn imp, and that goes until you get to the bottom. If you can't spawn something, you obviously not going to spawn it. Alright, so this is our battle, and I activate first. So in this lane I have my medic, and she uses only one dice to attack, but the creeper is only one hit point, so I'm sure I can kill it. So I'm gonna shoot first, and I missed. Now I can shoot again, or I can move. When you're in perimeter, you move from one adjacent space to another, so I can exchange with someone else. Let me see. I'm actually gonna stay, and I'm gonna shoot. No, I'm not gonna shoot. I'm gonna move. So I'm gonna move into my zone. Because when I clear the lane, I just need to step out on the spawn zone, and nothing's gonna spawn. When you basically uh, step on all spawn zones, that's the end of the battle, because nothing can spawn anymore, and the battle's gonna end. You just need to, somehow manage to close all the spawning zones. All right, let's activate our ninja next. So she also have one combat die, but she hits on 3+, so I'm just gonna roll for that. Yep, the imp is dead. And I'm also going to move. With Psycho I'm actually gonna move twice, because I'm thinking to use my special ability once I get in the range. Once the splinter gets in the range. Or should I actually shoot and then move? Yeah, I'm gonna shoot. Now the Psycho uses 2 dice. Splinter has 2 hit points, so I need to hit on both of those dice. But I hit only on 5 or more. Let's see. Yeah, I have 1 hit, but I don't have another hit. Now I can try again, but I'm actually going to move. With Robot, I'm just gonna unleash hell, because he hits on 4+ and uses 2 dice. Yeah, that's 1 hit. That's more than enough to kill this little creeper. And then I'm also going to move with Robot. Now, while everybody in zone 1, I can still move like this, exchanging my team members from zone to zone. But if someone in zone 2, he can't exchange with other team members. So we need to be in the same zone on the same lane to actually exchange the lanes. That's really important, especially when you fight some enemies that are tougher and you have actually team members that can kill them easy. So that's it. Now we activate the monsters. We also go from top to clockwise. So this little creeper is going to activate. So what he's going to do, he's going to move, and then he's going to run. Now if he was starting here before he do his little AI, you actually would be rolling for push, but he was starting here, so this holy symbol doesn't affect monsters. They can't use it. So he moves here, and now I have to test Dread with my medic. If I fail, he's gonna move again. I didn't fail, so he will stay there. Now if the monsters move into your zone, you're fine. They're not going to hurt you, nothing. Monsters actually trying to get to perimeter and then hurt everybody, especially these ones that doesn't have any attacks. They just run to the perimeter then attack. So I'm safe there. In this lane there are no monsters, which means whenever you don't have monsters and the spawn zone is not covered by you, you're actually gonna roll for spawning, and nothing's gonna spawn. Alright. In this lane I have a splinter. Now the splinter he's gonna shoot, and then he's gonna move. He hits on 4+, so he's gonna shoot at Psycho. Yes, he hits. Psycho takes 1 damage. You always take 1 damage per shot, unless stated otherwise. So from 5 hit points he's gonna go to 4, and then Splinter's going to move. In this lane we don't have anything, so we're gonna roll for spawning. Something's gonna spawn. We roll again to see what. It's number 3. That's Imp, so Imp's gonna spawn here. And that's basically end of 1 battle round. Now we activate players again. So let's see. Well, with the medic I'm gonna actually move and then I'm gonna shoot. Yeah, I hit on 4 plus, so the little creeper is dead. With the ninja I'm just gonna move twice. With the psycho I'm going to move and then I'm going to use my special ability. Once per battle, kill all enemies in your zone. So I'm gonna kill this splinter. Uh, by the way, this is a free action, so I can continue moving. So I'm gonna move here. And with robot, I'm just gonna move twice. My priority is now to get to these spawn points and close them so we can finish the battle. Alright, so let's activate the monsters. So we have what's this? This is the imp. He's going to move and then he's going to shoot. He hits on 5 plus, he missed the robot. Alright. So that's it for the monsters. Now I'm gonna activate my team members again. With the medic I'm gonna move in zone 3 and then I'm gonna activate this icon of the holy symbol. So let's flip the card and see actually what we have here. Alright, so let's roll on this chart. Oh, I got a 6. 6. Seal all spawning points. When lanes are clear, do not roll for spawning. So I just managed to seal all spawning points. So I don't have to deal with that anymore. So no spawning here. Now I can, if I want to, I can exchange with Psycho and then move to the... I can do something like this with Ninja if I want to. Right now, use 2 actions to move her. But that would be just waste because even if I do that, I can't kill the imp. So yeah, I'm not gonna activate with the... I'm gonna skip activation with Ninja, I'm gonna skip activation with Psycho, I'm just gonna do my robot and that's gonna be the end of battle because right now all the spawning points are sealed. Let's shoot once. Imp is dead. Oh, actually, he's not dead, I forgot. He's now standing in the zone when he actually has a shield, so he has 2 hit points. So this is 1 hit, but attacks do accumulate, so he has 1 hit. And I missed with the second shot, oh my god, impossible. So I didn't manage to kill him. Alright, well, we skip. I'm gonna... Well, actually no, I'm not gonna skip the activation. With the medic, I'm gonna move in. I can do that, we are both on zone 3 and we are adjacent. And then I'm going to shoot on this imp. I missed. Alright, well, Ninja is too far away. Yeah, I can't get in there, but with Psycho I can exchange with Medic. And then I can shoot. The problem is I need to hit with both die. He's on very bad spot. Yeah, I missed with both shots. So the imp's gonna activate. He's going to move. And then he's going to spit. Oh, so my Psycho is hit again. Wow. Okay, now I have a problem here. Okay, let's see what I can do about that. I can move a robot down. No, I'm gonna exchange with Psycho. And then I'm gonna shoot. Now, the imp doesn't have a shield anymore, so he should die from this attack if I get... Yeah, I got him. I hit on 4 or more and imp is finally dead. But he did cause some damage. Alright, so the battle is over. Holy icon sealed all the spawning points. We're not going to get any more enemies. We return our team members to the perimeter. And we remove these things. And we finish the battle and we pass the room. So we move this downward. And then we would continue rolling on the encounter, have more battles, and try to get to the bottom. And that's basically the game. If you get to this last spot, you're gonna have onslaught. If you survive that, you win the game. Basically, you manage to deliver the bomb. One more thing that I need to explain is, well, let's just look at these other battles you can have. Like in onslaught, you spawn 2 monsters in each lane, and monsters have advantage, so they will always activate before your players. And it says when the room is clear, test dread. If you fail a test, you repeat the onslaught. So yeah, this could be really bad. They just coming at you and coming at you until you manage to, pass the dread. The swarm, you spawn 2 monsters in each lane, and then you lower the spawn value by 1 for each lane. So basically, if you check here, this spawn value is now 4 plus. If you lower it, it's gonna be 3 plus, so there is a good chance they're gonna spawn, so that's why it's swarm. In ambush, you're gonna spawn 2 monsters in each lane, and then monsters have advantage. Also, all players start is on one of their lanes, so you're gonna be closer to the monsters at least. In skirmish, you spawn 2 monsters in each lane, and in probe, which we actually have here, you spawn 1 monster in zone 3, and that's it. So they can probe, they can skirmish, ambush, swarm, and onslaught. And that was Infernal Descent. That's the whole game. Now, since the game could take long to finish, you can actually save the game. It's quite simple. You're gonna just write your dread value, you're gonna write on which level and in which room you are, and health of your characters. So the next time you can just continue from that level and that room, and with your current health and the dread. As I said, once you pass this into this red zone, the monsters get more uh, tougher. So for instance, if we check these monsters, so the worm now just move, he's gonna probably get into your perimeter, and everybody could get damaged if they fail on the dread roll. Beast is gonna move and hold, says roll for spawning in the beast lane, so it's gonna just bring more monsters into your lane. Banshee is gonna scream and move. With scream is actually, it says player in her lane masters dread. If you fail that, player skip his next turn. So the players in her lane is gonna be not useful. They're just gonna skip the turn if they fail the dread. The magician is actually has a range attack, and he inflicts 2 wounds. So yeah, he's pretty bad. He can kill your team members quite quickly. And he's also 2 hit points, like the beast. So you actually have to do 2 damage to them or accumulate damage. So not really easy to kill them, especially if they got into these cover zones where they actually can hide from your shots. Alright, so that's the Infernal Descent, a little 9-card game with only 18 components. Really tough game. To be honest, the most I managed to get is to level 54, and that's using two teams of players, and they all died there. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, if you like the games I'm making, if you like the print and plays I'm placing on the BGG, please subscribe and maybe make the games and enjoying them. So, goodbye.